continuing our look. This is Dana Talbrook, and continuing our look at Takoro, we have Turaga Vakama. He's using Akar's mask because I don't have a use to build Akar in this series. Plus, I used like all of my red in all of these Takoro builds, so don't really have a need for Akar to be Akar. And I didn't feel like making a custom neck joint just to use a mask from a set that I don't own. It'd just be more work to get a piece from a set I don't own when I have a piece that kind of works. And since I'm not doing a one-for-one recreation of G1 Bionicle characters and making them at a different size scale, I feel like it's fine. This is using essentially the same build as Turaga Vakama that I did, except instead of using Vaki arm pieces, it uses ball joints connected to a blue pin to attach the arms, which means it has slightly more posability, but not too much more. The back is just made with this hand piece that connects to the hips, and then a flexible arm connected to a G2 gearbox, and then this little piece to fill out the back a little bit, since I didn't have the same system parts that I used on Lecon. For articulation, you can swivel this pin here to move the arms up and down. You have a rotation without moving the ball joint at the shoulders, but then you also have the ball joint itself at the shoulder. And then you've got a ball joint at the fists, ball joints at the hips, ball joints at the feet, and a ball joint at the neck. So this figure is also meant to be in scale with all of my other figures. So here he is next to a Matoran, which I feel like makes him bigger than a Matoran, kind of to fit with the whole wise old person. And like when you're and the Matoran essentially being even though they're about technically the same age in Bionicle lore, make the Matoran seem like a little kid. And when you're a little kid, you think your grandparents are super big and giants, but then you have like your protectors, which are about the same height, and depending on the leg pieces of your specific Turaga, your protectors can actually be bigger than your Turaga, which I think makes sense. You know, when you're like a teen to young adult, you tend to get bigger than your grandparents. And then because the Toa build is just, and slight spoilers for the next video, I should have reviewed these in a different order if I was going to do this size comparison now, but his mask fell off. But here he is next to, oh, okay, let me get him in the back. Here he is next to a Toa. And obviously, your Toa are the big, strong, ultimate protectors of your village. So they're like your middle age to like just before becoming an elder sort of size. So your Toa are bigger than your protectors, bigger than your Matoran, and bigger than your Turaga. But as we all know, Turaga become Turaga from being Toa. So obviously, just like in real life, you get to be so much bigger than your grandparents, and then all of a sudden you're like the same height, if not shorter than them. So that about does it for. Oh, and also a little thing I try and do with as many of them as possible is put a stud on their chest to mimic the Heartlight from the Miramax designs. But that about does it for my Turaga Vakama build. So see you next week when we look at Toa Tahu in more detail.